To the three-pack days on market. I think that this can be a misnomer. Just when you take an overall look, no matter where you get your stats from, I don't think just throwing out, hey, the average days on market really is helpful because every area is different. Every neighborhood's different and so forth. But when Todd gives us the average days on market, it's a great overview of what's happening in the market. And so I'm going to take you through an exercise that we do to really kind of drill in when we're having to present either to a buyer, but more importantly to a seller, understanding their neighborhood. So first glance, as I just mentioned, does not tell the whole story. There are a lot of reasons, Nick, why a house sits on the market for long periods of time. I mean, it could be a lot of reasons. A lot of the times it's overpriced. Sometimes it's in crappy condition. Sometimes it backs up to a major road. Sometimes it backs up to power lines, and the price is not really reflected in some of these things. And so I think we're sellers of misnomer to say, hey, okay, well, it's okay. Where you've priced, it's fine because the average days on market for the neighborhood's 120 days. So let's just ride this out.
Yeah, I mean, so at what point with your seller are you having a bigger conversation because you're starting to accrue days on market? I get that there's a bigger story there, but when the buyers are coming in, they're seeing those numbers start to climb. How are you consulting with your seller on that?
Well, we're going to get into that because
okay.
that's kind of the whole point of what we do.
Okay.
But the first thing that I do whenever we are comping a neighborhood and comping a house, we say this all the time, and I'm not talking about going to Flex MLS. I'm talking about actually going to armless.com. They will provide you quarterly reports of days on market by zip code.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I want to do is I don't want to take a look at the overall stats, average days on market for Maricopa County or the MLS is 120, or I'm just throwing out numbers. I need to take a look at that zip code. What's happening in the zip code? And it will provide you quarterly reports. So if you go to armless.com, there's an area to click on for reports, look up statistics, and then select quarterly housing summary. And there's a lot of I learned there's a lot of zip codes in Arizona. So you got to really scroll down to find your zip code, but it will tell you what's happening. We use this for appraisals as well when we're presenting a report for an appraiser, or we get a low appraisal. We can take a look at what's been happening in the neighborhood. Has it been going up? Or has it been going down when we're considering an investment property? If we're going to buy it and flip it and then put it on the market, what's going on in that zip code? Something's really important for us.
So what's the comparison then when you're looking at the zip code versus average days on market? Are you trying to educate with those numbers? Like if I'm, again, I know I come from the buyer side, but if I'm looking at the average days on market, or I see that a home has been sitting for 100 days, but if you look at armless.com and it shows 100 days is average there, how are you having that conversation when the offers are coming in?
Well, then I would say days on market. This might be where we're at. But if I look at it and Flex MLS says 100 days, but just overall. But then I take a look at a specific zip code, and the average days is 70 days, and that means that neighborhood and that zip code is very active and there's more demand for that zip code.
Sure. It's just working with buyers that may not understand that, and so you're trying to educate better. I know Matt was trying to have a hard time selling his house. It's out for about 100 days, but that was an average for that neighborhood.
All right, so this is where we're going to get into the crux of it. Understanding the true days on market. So what I need to determine, and especially when I'm sitting with a seller, how many days occurred from when the seller determined the right price and when it sold. So I'm looking at all of those price adjustments. And so how many days occurred as to when the seller found that right price and the house actually sold. And so what we do is we look up recent sold listings in the neighborhood, and I did some screen grabs here.
Oh, we'll see how it goes.
All right, well, I'm going to put them all up there because I didn't
I'm
Oh, no,
impressed,
no,
buddy.
no. Well, okay. So the one in the upper left. So I just picked a neighborhood. I can't even. I think you know what? I picked Palm Valley Phase 5 because I used to live there, and so I took a look at some square feet, and I took a look at everything in that area that was similar to a subject property that sold within the last 60, 70 days, and so forth. And so then I go through each one of them. And so then if you look up at the upper right, so this was just a sample of the first one I did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the listing,
Hmm.
and there it pops up. And then if you look at the bar, there is a button that says report.
Hmm.
And so then that's the bottom right. That's the property and listing, or it's not reports, history, property and listing history. And so now I've got 695574, which is an MLS number, obviously. That is the most recent listing. And so then I now go into the bottom left. I click on that listing, and here is what happened. Um, you know, um, it went on the market, beginning of December, and it sat and sat and sat. And then on March 1st, the seller reduced the purchase price by 3.8%. So we went from 665, which the market told us was way too much money, and we dropped this one to 639.9. And then within, call it 38, 39 days, it sold.
Gotcha.
Okay, so we found the right price. That was the price that the market was saying we would pay for this house. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to do this exercise with all of these properties, and now I'm getting now what I can go to a seller, say,
Yeah.
hey, listen, if we're in the right condition and we price your property right, I know you want to shoot for the moons. I can tell you in this neighborhood, let's say if all of them were similar in that 30 to 40 days, I would then tell that seller average days on market for homes that are priced properly in Palm Valley Phase 5 are between 30 and 40, not 90 and 100.
I mean, you're coming with actual facts and data, hard numbers that they can see.
I
You're
was
not just
gonna, I was gonna circle these things. I couldn't figure out how to circle things on
don't say it
PowerPoint,
out loud.
bro.
You're doing such a good
I
job.
know,
I
I
was
know.
real proud of
I
you.
popped up and I was like, I forgot to do that.
Well, and see what Mike was going to say is he was going to go into his AI and he was going to put all the metrics into his AI and it was going to spit him out a really good looking chart that he could walk into the listing presentation, talk to that seller and say, here's what the facts are. So when you've got that stubborn seller that says, I know I can sell for X because my neighbor down the street just sold for $850,000 back in only 2022. So what are we doing pricing it to 639? Now you can show them in the last 90 days, here's exactly when the price shifted and there how quickly it sold. That's brilliant. I'm going to take Todd's stance here. That's a really good, important point you just made there, Mikey.
All right. So with all that being said, and again, I would do this. I'd do through all of them. I know we wanted to talk about Zillow and kind of with speaking of days on market.
Yeah.
This is a powerful tool.
Sure.
Still working on signing up for it.
You're good. I'll get you there. So it's just, and so because I came from the buyer side in the first couple points, those are the conversations that we've been having. We see a lot of inventory right now. There's a lot of listings that are selling quickly, and there's a lot more that are sitting a little bit slow on the market. And so when we have, again, back to that seller who thinks their home should be priced at X, the Zillow preview option that agents at West USA have at no charge. That was the other thing I found out last week. A lot of agents felt there was a charge for it. There's no cost to it.
Well, it's Zillow. You just assume.
100%. And so with West USA, and it's not every brokerage has this opportunity. So West USA agents do. You're going to go into your Zillow Workplace account. It's going to give you an opportunity to what we're calling, or what Zillow's calling, preview the listing. You take the listing, you enter in base information. It's not doing a full MLS printout. You're doing a couple of photos, general information on that listing. You're going to put it into preview mode, and then you have the clear cooperation rule, 24 business hours before you need to put it into the MLS. So if you're putting it in on a Friday afternoon, it gives you the weekend to what Zillow calls take the listing for a walk. In doing that, you're not accruing history and you're not accruing days on market. So it gives you a little bit of that time to test the waters, see, are you getting calls? Are people reaching out about the home? Or is it sitting dead in the water? And then you have a little bit more data to go on. This is a very important thing, and I think a powerful piece of information we just went over to couple with the Zillow preview system. So if you're interested in Zillow preview and you are with West USA, shoot an email to propertyinfo@westusa.com or log into your Zillow Workplace account. You should see that option at the top of the page.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Well, there's days on market, so that's just a little. That's just what we do on our team, just to really helping our sellers understand a very specific neighborhood. And so, with that being said, we got a very special